Hello, everybody. My name is Edward S. Redcar, and I'm the host of Edward S. Redcar's Entertainer Chat. And today I have the awesome pleasure of interviewing Tom Paulino from New York City. I first met Tom at the 8th Annual Dunedin International Film Festival after party at the Fenway Hotel in Dunedin, Florida, January this year. And that's when Tom expressed his interest in being on my talk show. And I says, come on board, come on board. So let me tell you a little bit about Tom. Originally from Providence, Rhode Island. And like I said, he now lives in New York City. He's an actor, an audition coach, a producer, a hockey coach, which we were just all talking about before we started recording here, and also a yoga teacher. He's appeared on NBC's Law and Order Special Victims Unit and on CBS's FBI Most Wanted and Blue Bloods. And his most recent film, which has got a lot of acclaim, it's called One of the Good Ones, was released recently on Prime Video, March 7th. And I was privileged to be there when he received the 2026 Audience Award at the Dunedin International Film Festival in Dunedin, Florida. And like I told Tom, I just got to make a shout out to his kitty, Stevie Nicks, who
Yeah.
cannot be with us. She is previously
Sequestered her.
occupied. She has a busy schedule, right, Tom? So she can't join us
She's
today.
got birds to watch, and yeah.
So Tom, welcome to the show, and how you doing today?
Thank you very much, Ed. I'm glad to be here. I'm super glad to be here. I was telling you before, I was on the ice at 6:40 this morning, coaching, so I'm ready to go, man. I'm glad to be here.
Okay. Well, we're both pumped. You're pumped from hockey, and I'm pumped to interview you. So our pump levels are high here. So we've only met one time in person before, and it's like we struck it off right away, right? We just started talking back and forth, and
Yes, sir. No, I immediately was aware of what a gentleman you are, and
thank
your
you.
passion for film, and your interest in the creative process and the people who do it, including yourself. This is a creative process.
Yes, it is. It is. And yes, we both enjoy the creative process. Myself with documentaries, you with all the different genre of films that you're involved in. So I usually start by asking each one of my guests, no matter what they are, actor, actress, musician, dancer, whatever, writer. Um, what led to what they're doing today? Like what was the spark or creative spark or however you want to turn it. So
Yeah.
I'll pose the same question to you. How did you first become interested in acting and then eventually in producing?
Yeah, so when I was 6 years old, there was a boy in my neighborhood, Stefan, who was auditioning for the Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus. And I said, "Oh man, I got to do that. How can I audition for that?" And then I booked the commercial for the circus. And the other thing that comes to mind is my mom, who was an English teacher for 30 years
Oh,
and
wow.
loved literature, was always reading to us. I remember the first books that I read, Animal Farm, George Orwell's Animal Farm, and of course John Steinbeck's Of Mice and Men, and just poetry. And my mom is very creative and really an actress herself. Took me to the theater
Oh,
in
wow.
Providence, the Trinity Repertory Theater there, and I really have always loved um, expression, and even as a hockey player, I was very expressive. Hockey is a performance,
That's right,
and
right.
I just love the roar of the crowd. Yeah.
Yeah. So besides all that, say when you're growing up, maybe like in grade school or high school, were you ever involved in any kind of like high school productions or maybe like community theater in some capacity?
When I was in prep school at the Hill School, we had a thing called the Strawberry Festival, which was an arts festival. And Edward Albee, the playwright who wrote Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf,
Yes, okay,
came
cool.
and spoke to us. And I hadn't done any acting since I was 6. I was maybe 16 at the time. Hadn't thought about acting, but I remember seeing Edward Albee, and
Okay.
I remember feeling like that that's my kindred spirit. And I was so hyper focused on hockey at the time. I really
Okay.
all about playing hockey and doing well in school and getting into my number one college and everything. And but I do remember from out of left field, the way the universe works. They Edward Albee came in there, and I was like, man, that that feels like home.
Uh-huh. You got a good gut feeling, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, they always tell, well, like whatever you decide to do or whatever choices you're faced with, it always seems they always tell you or tell us, go with your gut feeling. Whatever your gut feeling is first, 99% of the time it's right. You know,
I totally agree.
yeah, yeah.
I would say 100% of the time, man.
100%. Yeah, that's more like it. 100%.
Yeah.
100%. So you were talking about your mom being an English teacher and everything. And so that, I mean, that must have been like a great incentive from her as far as like her being like familiar, well, obviously with the English language and grammar and like scripts and everything like that. So she probably gave you maybe a lot of tips or advice when
Yeah,
you
yeah.
had the inkling, you know?
Yeah, she's very, very emotional, very spiritual, and those are the big things with acting, love of literature, as I said,
Okay, okay.
and just a lot of passion for life. We're Italian, so we have a lot of energy for life. And
I'm half Italian, so I know what you mean. I know
is
what
that
you
right? Well, there you go, man. You're right on.
mean.
Right on.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. We do have a lot of passion and drive, no matter what we go after, right?
Yeah,
Something
yeah,
like that,
man.
something like that. Yeah. So let me just take one step further here. Uh, how about anyone else in your family? Did they ever go in the direction that you are with acting and all that?
Well, my dad was a psychiatrist, and he was very fascinated with film, and he used to film me playing hockey. And then when my brother started boxing and in the martial arts, he had very sophisticated film equipment. So I think my dad, while he was a psychiatrist, all his career really had a passion for film and filmmaking.
Okay, okay,
And was when I would go to when I was in plays in college, he was always going to the talkbacks and asking questions and
okay, okay,
very
okay.
involved in the creative process. And
Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh.
so yeah, so I think both my parents were maybe artists in another life or something along
Yes.
those lines. Yeah.
Right, right, right. Well, you inherited all of that, the background information that they provided. I mean, like all the equipment that your father had. I mean, that had to be a huge help, like in later years, because you were probably already familiar with like the basics of how to get started, right? The equipment, camera equipment, and all that, right? That must have been a great. Like I says, incentive that to catapult you, like ahead of the crowd, you know?
Yeah, my dad was amazing. When I was at the Hill School as a sophomore, I only had one shift a game because I was on the fourth line. And my
Okay.
dad used to drive from Rhode Island to Pottstown, Pennsylvania, which is a 6 hour one-way trip to
Oh my
watch
God.
one shift. Yeah, and so he was amazing that way. When I would play scrimmages and hockey camp over the summer, I would look up and there would be one person in the stands, and that was my dad. So he was a tremendous support to me. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Yeah, it's always a great thing, whether you're in sports or theater or whatever, to have like somebody support you in the crowd, either a mom or dad or relatives or
Yeah.
whatever. It kind of makes you work harder, right? Kind of
Oh,
put some
yeah.
extra
I mean,
oomph in it, right?
oh man, my dad I get emotional thinking about it. My dad would, good hustle, or you played a good game in the car ride home, or
Oh, right, right,
that
right,
was
right.
made my whole month.
Right. Probably if he wasn't there, probably you already had it set in your mind. Well, I'm going to score like two, three goals. But probably with him in the crowd, oh, heck, I can score six, right, or five. It's like everything
Yeah.
doubled because you got the juice running, right? Something like
Yeah, I definitely did.
that. So with all that passion and drive that you had from your younger years. Going back to one of the good ones that was just released, you're the executive producer and you also star in one of the good ones, like I mentioned before, that received the 2026 Audience Award at the Dunedin International Film Festival. And also a lot of other accolades for it. It received good ratings on screencritics.com. And this is very impressive. It received good ratings in acting, in direction, cinematography, writing, sound, and screen critics rating. It was like a good overall rating, so you can't get much better than that.
Yeah.
And I thought this was interesting. On that website, it mentioned about the film. It says the film is worth your time, especially if you enjoy seeing regional filmmaking, and it put Buffalo on the map. And this is the thing that got me. It says it put Buffalo on the map for something other than wings and
Things.
winter.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I read that, I says, yes, that's the quintessential description of Buffalo, wings and winter,
Wings in winter.
besides the Bills, besides the
Yeah.
Bills. So,
Yeah.
uh,
No, I love that you brought that up, Ed, because actually you can't see it from here, but I have a vision board, and one of the things on my vision board is a list of why the world needs the movie One of the Good Ones. And the first thing on my list, why the world needs the movie One of the Good Ones, is it brings Buffalo back from a dark period. And we're really a part of that. We're really that vision is true now. The vision board is a very powerful tool, and I have other ones, but this is the list that I use to raise money. When I would go to raise money for my film, I didn't
okay.
share with them what the plot was because they could read that in the pitch deck.
Yes,
I
yes,
shared what it meant to me, why the world needed it, and I was very specific and clear about that, and that's the first thing on my list.
yes, yes, yes. And a lot of times, well, not only do they first think of the Bills for Buffalo, but it's also close to Niagara Falls, like
Yeah.
that. So it brings that back. And Buffalo, let's see, wasn't that where Lucille Ball, her area when she grew up,
Oh,
something
was
like
Lucille
that.
Ball from Buffalo? I didn't know that.
But I remember when I went out that way, or like in the area out there, there was this like New York State Visitor Center near Niagara Falls, and it actually had a display like dedicated to Lucille Ball and things like that. So it's a good thing that now you're putting Buffalo in the forefront again. Besides notoriety for being near Niagara Falls and
A
kind
beautiful
of
place, Ed. Great
yes,
people. We
and
could not
connected
have
with
made the film without them, really.
yeah, yeah,
Easy spot.
yeah. So now that we're into the thick of your film here, just tell us a little bit about what the story's about in your film, one of the good ones,
Yeah.
and why did you decide to tell this particular story?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, before I do that, I want to share with you what my background is because it's apropos. So, the virtual background on my screen is the Rhode Island Supreme Court bench, where
Okay,
my paternal grandfather, Thomas Joseph Paulino Sr., was a judge from 1955 to 1976,
okay.
and a Supreme Court judge. And so, justice runs in my veins, and I really I love being someone who made a film about justice and its triumph over fear, which because that's really what corruption is. It's fear, and so one of the good ones is about a good lawyer who investigates bad lawyers. Um,
Okay, okay,
and it's based on a true story, or I should say, inspired by actual events, because some of it is fabricated. Vincent Scarcella was the deputy chief counsel of the Lawyers Discipline Office in Buffalo for 18 years, and during that 18 years, he fielded 15,000 complaints of bad behavior and corruption in fellow lawyers, in other lawyers, because Vince is a lawyer himself.
okay,
Uh,
okay.
he was writing the whole time. He found out I was on Law and Order, sent me a Facebook message on November 10th of 2022, said, "Will you read my script?" And now we're on Prime Video 3 years and 4 months later.
Wow, wow, wow. That's quite a, yeah. I know because when I first found out that it was about in Buffalo, and it's like I don't really remember like recently any kind of film or story in Buffalo, so that kind of intrigued me. It's like but I know it's like an up and coming area like for filming too, right? Like the
Yeah.
Buffalo area.
Terrific tax incentive there at $250,000. It's a 30% tax incentive.
Okay.
And at half a million, it's a 40% tax
Oh
incentive. So
wow.
Buffalo's
Okay.
a great
Okay.
place to shoot for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, yeah. So maybe someday that could maybe become sort of the Hollywood of the East Coast, maybe, or
Well, it's interesting. I think that it's definitely having a boom in filming. They have
hmm
Great Point Studios there, which they've shot like 10 films recently there. I was in one in November. They have the Great American Film Family Network is shooting films out of that Great Point Studio one after another. Uh,
Okay.
and and recently, yeah, they had three feature films there at the same time, which was
Wow.
unprecedented. So it really has is having a high season.
Okay, okay. Because I know a lot of filming in recent years, I don't know what, maybe within the last maybe 10 years or something like that. It seems like more and more filming is being done like on the East Coast. Like you hear a lot of filming like down south, down like Atlanta, Georgia, down that way, states in that area. And well, yes, including Buffalo. So maybe the trend is coming back this way from like it started in New York, right? It's coming back, maybe,
It's a great question, Ed, and it's a great topic to bring up. I appreciate you mentioning it
Mhm.
because it cuts to a very, very important idea, which is that the real movie studio is inside yourself. You know, the
Yes, yes, yes.
especially these days where you can make your own films with more ease than ever.
Right?
Um,
One of these, right? That's all it takes for a
well,
start, right? Yeah.
there are films that have been shot on iPhone. Sean Baker's Tangerine was shot on an iPhone way back, and more are being shot on. Yeah, I mean the cameras on the iPhones are amazing, but I think it really has more to do with, like in my case with one of the good ones, I really believe in my film. Like I know there's something there
Oh,
that
yes, yes,
that
yeah.
will, that's is of service to humanity. And so, I want to share with other filmmakers out there, if you have something you really believe in, you could be in LA, you could be in Buffalo, you could be in Newark, or you could be in Providence. And it really doesn't matter because what matters is that the studio inside you is on fire with your
That's a
idea that matters and needs to be told and needs to be told now.
that's a very, very good statement where it resides in you, and you can take it anywhere, or you can let it stay where you are, but still create an excellent film that it starts in here. No, that's an excellent point. Excellent point.
Thank you.
And yeah, interesting that you bring up about making films like on iPhones and everything. And it seems more and more. I've been hearing more and more about these vertical films now these are like 90-second clips, and they're sort of like segments that it's sort of like an ongoing story. Say something not a soap opera, but like a story where you can like follow it, but each different segment has like its own conclusion. But it's
Yeah.
like it's so appealing that people just want to know more. That's what I've been hearing about, the vertically.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a trend in that. I mean, it's not really my cup of tea, but
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I know that it's very popular, and it'll be interesting to see if it sticks around.
It
Yeah.
is. It is. It is.
One of the good ones is about a task of good lawyers investigating bad ones. It's inspired and based on actual events of the Lawyers Discipline Office in Buffalo, New York, where Vincent Scarcella was the chief deputy counsel for 15 years, and he vetted 18,000 complaints of his fellow lawyers and was writing the whole time. Wrote a 4-book series, which you can find on Amazon, the first book of which is called Lawyers Gone Bad. So I took Vincent's script and made the movie one of the good ones. We have a full house, and we can't wait.
Oh, super.
I'm one of the good ones. Prosecute bad ones so they're held accountable.
Yeah, no, I mean, I heard they are looking at Susie for her husband's murder.
Yeah, she didn't do it.
How do you know?
I'm leading the investigation.
Sometimes I feel like the ham in a corruption sandwich.
Oh boy, I'm so pleased right now. I really appreciate everyone here, and so many people came in from Buffalo, and Rosanna Pfeiffer and Brett Lisi is here, Robert, John Patrick Patty, and Steve Fabian, our new movie angel. There's just people of Buffalo have made this come true, and I just can't say it enough. So I just always try to recognize the people of Buffalo, the city of good neighbors, and this place is amazing too. So, one of the good ones is a dream come true, and someone mentioned that the film was dedicated to his mom and Adam Dangersmith, and this is dedicated to my sister and my dad, and to Billy Kennedy's cousin. So, we're all in this together. So thank you so much.
I'm so proud of every single filmmaker and actor and person out there. Give yourselves a big round of applause. Come on, this is one of the last times I get to say this until next year. 1, 2, 3. Come on, I'm just kidding. You'll find me on weird stages all year long. But
It is, yeah. So, going back to your film, I mentioned that you star in the film. So, what's the name of your role, uh, which you've already gotten into, the type of character, and which you've already developed along those lines? But besides you, who else stars in the film along with you?
Well, you know what? There are amazing stars in this film. Jacob Beware comes to mind, who plays the district attorney, Sam Markham, a brilliant actor and a good guy, and he did a terrific job. Susan Gallagher, who's amazing as the chief judge, Alexandra Crane,
Hmm,
is
hmm.
just riveting on screen. She's best known for her recurring role as Lynn in Cobra Kai. Um,
Yes, yes.
we have terrific actors all around. Rob Ray, Buffalo Sabres Hall of Famer, NHL player Rob Ray, who's now the color commentator for the Sabres, did an amazing job in his first narrative role. And I mean, Donna Marie Vaughn, who one of our associate producers, who just helped tremendously with the Buffalo premiere. We had
Hmm,
300
hmm.
people there on March 8th
What?
for the Buffalo premiere.
Oh yeah, I know. I was wondering how the turnout was. That's great.
Yeah, it was so much fun, Ed. It was great, 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 great day.
That's huge. Yeah, yeah. You mentioned Susan Gallagher. Well, in all of our preliminary setup for this interview, texting and whatnot, there, I mentioned that I met her for the very first time at the Sunscreen. What was it? About 3 years ago, and that's when she starred as Martin Cole's wife.
Right.
They screened his film there along with his son, Martin Cole's son. He starred in it.
Yeah.
Very, very nice person. Uh,
Yeah.
a pleasure to talk to, a pleasure to meet. So, so friendly and cordial and everything. No,
Yeah.
she's a great person and a great artist. Yeah, can't say enough about her. Great.
She's a star. She really.
Yes, definitely, definitely, definitely. So, um, uh, getting getting away from the cast information and all that.
Yeah.
So, when you shot the film, so what time of year did you shoot the film? And
Yeah.
were there any kind of unique challenges in completing your sh shooting schedule? Hopefully you didn't shoot in the winter in Buffalo, but
Yeah,
if you
great
did,
question, Ed. Great
if you
question.
if you did, I'd like to know your secrets for getting around the obstacles.
No, I appreciate you bringing that up because talk about gut feeling. My gut feeling was to shoot in February in Buffalo, and people told me I was crazy. They said you don't want to do that. It could snow 3 feet,
Yes.
at any time.
Yes.
And I said to myself, well, we're getting a great deal on the hotel because no one goes to Niagara Falls in February. Um, and I'm going with my gut on this one. Let's go. We got
Okay.
our first day of shooting was February 24th of 2025. We shot for 9 days, came back for a pickup day in August, and
Okay.
it was flawless. We had great weather, and we got the movie done.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
lucky.
That time of year, you might as well say it was in the dead of winter, even though like the end of February going into March, like March, it's getting towards spring. So if you get any bad weather, like sleet or snow, it's going to melt right, hopefully because March it's warming up. But no,
Yeah,
that's
I wouldn't
excellent.
recommend it, Ed. I mean, if I had to do it again, I would plan to do the movie in Buffalo in like June, July, maybe.
Okay. At the height of the tourist season, right? When you
Yeah, it's beautiful there at that time. There's lots of music outdoors and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was going to say, well, there was probably, let's see, what is it? It's a state park on the U.S. side that overlooks the falls, like at an angle like that. So I'd have to say that was probably all empty by the time that when you were filming that
Yeah, in fact, we
image.
shot we got a shot of that. My wife at the
Oh,
end of the
did you
movie,
really?
yeah,
Cool.
with the falls behind her, jogging along
Oh,
on that
wow.
park strip there. Yeah.
Yeah. It's cool. It's cool. Yeah. Yeah, well, at least you had maybe low or minimal interference from tourists, unless there were the hardiest of tourists that showed up in February and sort of wanted to see the falls of Niagara Falls, like frozen in time. If
Yeah.
that, I mean, if that's their
Yeah.
thing, So, but
Yeah.
so for your film, it was such a great endeavor, especially in the winter in Buffalo. So, um, how many crew members did you have, and were there any kind of unique challenges
Yeah.
after you shot, like in post-production? Any
Sure, sure. So
noteworthy? Yeah.
yeah, no, these are great questions. We had 32 crew members.
Okay.
I think 30 of them were from Buffalo. Uh, the director was from Atlanta. My
Okay.
line producer was from LA, but I think pretty much everyone else was from Buffalo.
Okay.
And I got very, very lucky because Donna Marie Vaughn, who I mentioned earlier, connected me to a guy named Bill Murray III. Bill Murray runs B3 Productions out of Buffalo, and his team had made 10 shorts in a row together as a team. So I took that B3 Productions team, plugged it in to Hero's Journey Productions, which is my company, and that was their first feature film, which was brilliant because
Wow.
they
Okay.
were the team was already in place, cohesive and functioning like a greased lightning, and we
Right.
plugged them into a dream that they were ready for and wanted.
Okay. Okay.
So
Well, that
yeah,
that I mean that had to be a really big help for your budget having talent that was from Buffalo. I mean, then
100%.
you
Yeah.
didn't have to scour the country. It's like, oh my gosh, where am I going to find a talent? And that must have really cut your costs like way down. I
I'll
mean,
tell you something.
you know?
It cut my costs way down, Ed, and also it was like a promise kept to the city of Buffalo. I really
Okay.
I made a film about with Buffalo as a character, right? The character of fortitude that is Buffalo is the character of fortitude that is my character, Dean Alessi.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I didn't just, go in there and leave. I went in there, people got a great experience, ate well, were treated like kings and queens, and and paid well. And then
Okay.
I stuck by them, right? We went back to Buffalo, had the cast and crew screening, and that cast and crew screening turned into multiple written reviews
Oh,
on Prime
wow.
Video, which are I won't get into the specifics, but they're hugely important for the marketing of the film. So it all just kind of was a perfect back and forth of I give to you, the city of good neighbors gives back. Because that's the culture in Buffalo. You know, Rob Ray says it best. He's like, if you can help someone, why wouldn't you? You know, and I'm like that. So I fit in quite well in Buffalo, and we got along like family from the
Oh,
very
great.
beginning.
Yeah. And I know it's so much better when you got a cast and crew that like gels like that and, meshes and, personalities and everything. And
Yeah.
yeah, it makes the workday go so much better, quicker, smoother. And
Yeah.
uh, I think everybody gives probably not only 100, but 110%, right? When it's like
Exactly.
everything is right, and like they say, the stars align, and you're all focused on one, you're on one goal. Yeah,
Exactly, man. Yeah,
yeah,
it's like
yeah,
one of the best things about life.
yeah, 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 yeah. Unlike, say, like if like a film crew or production come into an area and they shoot the film and they're there for so long, and okay. Thank you very much. See you later, bye, or something. But no, and that's great if you ever have in your plans in the future of doing anything film related to what you did, or maybe completely different subject. It's like you got your crew, you got the welcoming arms of Buffalo, and
Yeah.
yeah, and they'll give you to the key to the city too, right? Besides that.
Well, I mean, it's really important to me to do the right thing, and especially when people are being so kind. You know, I mean, the kindness. We shot the sizzle reel. So on August 8th of 2023, we shot for 1 day in Buffalo a sizzle reel, sometimes called a proof of concept,
Okay.
and it was really so close to the end of the pandemic, and there hadn't been much filming in Buffalo at all at that, around those years, of course.
Uh-huh.
So they
Uh-huh.
were so kind to me. I mean, it was amazing. They were, donations of food and
Oh,
housing and the
wow.
whole thing. And I just left there feeling like, wow, I really like want to give back, you know?
It's not, how could you not want to give back
Yeah.
after they were came to you like with open arms and thank you and this and that? I mean, yeah, it's just natural for you to want to do for them what they did for you, and probably your film was even more successful than it already is
Yeah.
had not Buffalo been so cordial, right?
It was, man, I'll tell you,
You
the
know?
film opens with a drone shot of the city hall, like and Lake Erie, like a big
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
shot, and the crowd broke into applause at on March 8th,
Oh,
in
wow.
Buffalo. They just
You
loved it.
with that scene, I can tell with that scene, you had them right there, right at the outget, right?
Yeah, I did, man.
You had the crowd right there, right? Because
Yeah, they loved it, dude.
that's right, because you promoted Buffalo right in the first frame of the film, right? I mean, that's it. I mean, yeah, the crowd was yours from that time on. So, yeah, you were mentioning the premiere in Buffalo at the North Park Theater, and coincidentally enough, it was the day after your film's release on March 8th on Prime Video. And so you've already gotten a little bit into describing about the screening and the crowd. Is there anything else that you can add extra about describing what it felt like to have your film screened there in
Yeah.
the city that your film took place? And you already said that it was well received by the public, right?
Yeah, well, I teach yoga, and one of the things in yoga is the final resting pose, shavasana, which is sort of seals the practice, right? They say, you really don't want to do yoga and leave before shavasana because if you don't seal your practice, the whole experience doesn't have isn't complete.
Okay, okay.
And so going to Buffalo on March 8th and having the screening and seeing everyone there. I mean, I had actors that were in the sizzle reel that I replaced for the feature,
Oh, really?
and
Wow.
we stayed
Okay.
on good terms, and they came to the screening on March 8th. It was so healing and such a great way to complete the whole experience. And then we had a beautiful party thrown by Susan Plotkin, one of the executive producers who plays a judge in the film, and she just made all this amazing food, and everybody was welcome there. We had probably 100 people at that party.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
It
Wow.
was so healthy and good. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you said the turnout for it was what, 300?
Yeah.
300? Oh
Yeah,
my
we had a
gosh.
lot of people there, man.
That is a good turnout for, yeah, for something local. Is that theater maybe like one of the oldest theaters in Buffalo? I don't know too
Beautiful.
much
Yeah.
about it.
The North Park Cinema was built in 1920, Ed, and they
Oh
restored it
wow,
recently. It's got
okay.
these beautiful frescoes on the ceiling and above the screen. It's got a brand new 4K projector, a giant movie.
Wow, okay.
It's just a beautiful place that holds like 460 people. It's
Okay, okay.
wonderful.
You know, I think a lot of theaters or a lot of older theaters these days they're renovated to keep up with the times technically in filming, and a lot of these older theaters are upgrading, even though it's like really expensive to the 4K, like you mentioned,
Yeah,
just so that they can keep the theater open so it doesn't die, because without that, yeah, it's sort of like a done deal. I mean, you don't upscale and keep up to date technically with what's happening. Things are steadily going to decline. But yeah, now that you mentioned the 4K, I think more and more older theaters are doing that. And not only that, but like even in film festivals, in Sunscreen
yeah.
Film Festival in Florida. I know that they screen at like one of the oldest, if not the oldest, movie theater in town for the
Yeah,
Sunscreen.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's like you were saying, it's so ornate, and some of them have the staircases in the lobby that something like out of a movie. That's the
Yeah.
only way I can put it, like the grand staircase leading upstairs, and maybe
Yeah.
like the old all the like the old gold leaf and things like that. So
Yeah.
kind of brings up nostalgia, and I think that's an extra draw, right? If you have it like an older theater, it's sort of like you're bringing back the golden age. I mean, in one way or another, right? Something.
Absolutely. I mean, these dreams are sacred, and to honor them with beauty and glory is really a special thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, Tom, I'd really, really like to thank you for being on my show today. It's like I only met you once in person, and like we said at the top of the show, it's like we gelled, like we knew each other all the time, and it's like, yes, I got to have this guy on my show. It's like he's got. Not only does he have a great film, but it's like there's so much more about you that I wanted to know. I didn't know about the hockey and the coaching and things like that. So.
I
Yeah,
appreciate it,
it's
man.
been an absolute pleasure to speak with you again after what 2 or 3 months. So it's been a
Yeah.
pleasure. So uh, yeah, thank you so much for being on my show today.
My pleasure. It was great to be here. Great to get to know you better too.
Thank you, and I hope there's nothing but bigger and better things in your career and more success. And I really looking forward to seeing more posts about new projects and new endeavors in your career, and whatever you have in store for all of us. It's like inquiry minds want to know, so
Oh,
we'll be watching you.
I appreciate that, Ed. Thank
So,
you.
so yeah. So today we've been talking to my friend Tom Paulino, and like I said, he's originally from Providence, Rhode Island. Now he's in New York City. Actor, acting coach, producer, hockey coach, yoga teacher. That's not all. I also mentioned he's been on NBC's Law and Order Special Victims Unit, CBS's FBI Most Wanted, and Blue Bloods. And before I end the show, got to give it one more plug. His most recent film, one of the good ones, which he also stars in, was released on Prime Video March 7th. And he received the 2026 Audience Award at Dunedin International Film Festival. And before I close, even though she's not here, I'd like to say goodbye to your kitty, Stevie Nicks, wherever you are in
Oh,
the house. I know you've had your schedule is really heavily booked, Stevie, and you couldn't be with us today, but maybe we'll catch you another time. So
she's a good girl. She will.
yes. Yeah, everybody, once again, I'd like to thank Tom for taking time out of his day to spending a little bit of time with us today. So until next time, have a good day, have a good week, a year, a good life. Enjoy yourself, shoot for the stars. And until next time, we will see you soon. Have
We'll
a
see you soon. Thanks, Ed.
bye-bye.
You know, one of the good ones is A Dream Come True. And, someone mentioned that the film was dedicated to his mom and Adam Danger Smith. And this is dedicated to my sister and my dad. And to Billy Kennedy's cousin. So, we're all in this together. So thank you so much.